Rock Live and Social Distortion Live. Bad Luck originally on the album Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell. Now, of course, on this new album, Live at the Roxy. We also heard Story of My Life as well. Both of these off the new album. We'll be back with Mike Ness from Social D right after this on Modern Rock Live.
Modern Rock Live. This is live radio. And now, back to your host, Max Tolkoff.
Thank you very much. We're back. This is Modern Rock Live. Joining us tonight is Mike Ness of Social D. And coming up in a minute, the guys from Rancid will be with us here in L.A. tonight, live. Now, if you have a question for Mike Ness, give us a call toll-free, 1-800-223-ROCK. That's 1-800-223-7625. Remember, everybody gets on the air tonight with Mike will receive a copy of Live at the Roxy, courtesy of Time Bomb Recordings and Modern Rock Live. Back to Mr. Ness. You want to take some phone calls?
Sure.
Find out what the adoring fans have to say?
Sure.
Todd, you're on the air with Mike Ness of Social D.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
How you doing, man?
Oh, we're good, dude. A little bit flooded out back this way, but we're hanging in there.
Where you at?
Back in Ohio. Getting hit tough. Hey, just going to ask you a question. What's the wildest thing that's ever happened to you at a live rock show?
The wildest thing that's ever happened to me? Well, I got arrested after one in San Diego once. Like the second I set the guitar down, I had gotten in a fight with the bouncer before the show, and the promoter told them they couldn't do anything till afterwards. So they let me do our show, and as soon as I set the guitar down, they rushed me. West Security kicked my ass. The police kicked my ass, and I kicked a heroin habit in the San Diego felony tank for 5 days after that. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I don't know if it's the wildest, but it's one of the most surprising. I wasn't ready for it.
We'd have to, there's probably a lot of years worth of Todd, he's going to have to go back like many years to figure out which is the wildest. But thanks for the call. Tim, you're on the air.
Hi, guys. I was wondering, what bands influenced you when you were younger?
Well, I grew up, my uncles were hipsters, so they turned me on to like Stones records and stuff when I was like in third grade. So, and then early Beatles and the glitter stuff, a lot of the glitter music, long before I'd heard the Sex Pistols. So I had and then my father played country guitar, so I heard, that's where I got the Johnny Cash and Merle Haggard influences and stuff, and bluegrass. So I had a pretty extensive music background before I'd even gotten into punk rock.
When did you decide that you wanted to do, a cover of Under My Thumb? I mean, how did that make its way into the repertoire?
That was 1982. When we were, back then we'd just make 7-inch singles because obviously there was no major labels knocking at our doors.
Not yet.
And not many independent labels either, so back then you just had to make your own records and you could do it. Someone figured out that you could do it for, inexpensively and package it up yourself and Xerox your own artwork. And so we covered that in the early 80s, and that was the B-side on the 1945 7-inch in 1982, right before Mommy's Little Monster.
Yeah, and there's a great version of it on the live record, too, just in case. Kenny, you're on the air with Mike Ness.
Hi. What is your favorite city to perform in, and why?
I've only been able to narrow that down to like about 6 just major cities, LA being one of them, but I love Chicago and I love New York. Just something about coming into a big city like that and there's a buzz going, and it's just I don't know why. I mean, you don't always have a great time. It's not, sometimes I've had my best times in a tiny little town in Tennessee, but just depends on how you're feeling that day, I guess.
Kenny, thanks for the call. We'll take some more calls in a minute. I wanted to ask you, though, is, you did this album over 3 nights at the Roxy in L.A. You were out on tour for like a year before that. I mean, did you know then, how far ahead of time did you know you wanted to do a live album, as a result of these shows?
I think we started talking about 4 months previously, but it's something we'd wanted to do for years. You know, we just.
But you wanted the right venue, the right atmosphere. I mean, did the Roxy feel like the right place to do it?
Yeah, the Roxy felt great because it was like, you know, as you hear on the record, I talk a lot about, I reminisce about, you know, roaming the streets of, we were teenagers roaming the streets of Hollywood, and back then, like, the punk rockers ran it, you know, I mean, it was before the gang thing was real, as big as it is now, so I mean, yeah, it was just very kind of sentimental, yeah.
Yeah. Good. I mean, good production quality. I mean, it's very crisp and clear, and it's you know, it's raw. It's you guys, but it's a great recording. In fact, let's go back to the album and play "Prison Bound" from Live at the Roxy. It's Social Distortion on Modern Rock Live. Social D Live on Modern Rock Live, taken from Live at the Roxy. It's Prison Bound, which originally came out in 1988. Knowing that you were recording over the 3-night stand at the Roxy, were you like, you know, did it feel weird? And like, were you intimidated at all knowing that this is going down on tape?
You know, I had to really work hard at, you know, I had James, who helped me produce it, right? Like, he'd be coming to me at sound check and goes, "Tonight, dude, I think we should try this." And I had to really, like, well, plus I was I was feeling a little sick. I think I had bronchitis. But I was just like, you know what? I don't want to know any of this. I don't care. Just do whatever you got to do to engineer this. And this just, I don't even want to think about this, you know. So we just kept busy. Like, we always gamble backstage. We were just locked into a good card game, and then you don't think about it. Then next thing you know, it's time to go on, and you're thinking about either how much you just lost or how much you just won, and then, you know what I mean?
You're not thinking about the recording process, which
and
is
that's
good.
Best. I think it's best. I mean, as a songwriter, you have to think, but you know, it's more important that you feel, and if you're thinking, sometimes it can affect how you're feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
Bob, you're on the air with Mike Ness on Modern Rock Live.
Hey, I'm just wondering, what was the first concert you ever went to?
First concert I ever went to, I was supposed to go to KISS, and I got suspended from school, so my dad made me sell my tickets. I think it was Rod Stewart in like 1975, and that was the first time I saw someone with purple hair. That was pretty cool.
Rod Stewart, all right.
Yeah.
There you go. More than we wanted to know about this.
Yeah.
Bob, thanks a lot. We'll take some more calls, and we'll come back and chat more with Mike Ness right after this.
On the Global Satellite Network.
Sorry, jumped the gun a little bit. You give me that false ending there. It's Don't Drag Me Down from Live at the Roxy. Social Distortion coming up over the next few weeks on Modern Rock Live. We will have Counting Crows, Squirrel Nut Zippers, Liz Phair, and many more of your favorite artists. But right now we have Mike Ness in the studio. I love the audience chanting. You know, they know the words completely. You have that in there. It's like, stop. But they're going crazy. It's fine.
I got to take a break.
Let the audience do the work for a while. How completely packed and over the top was it, those 3 nights?
It was neat, man. It was like, well, I mean, the advantage of doing it in a small, intimate club was, you know, the immediate interaction, you know. I mean, they were less than a foot away. And, yeah, it was neat. All the creeps came out. People came out of the woodwork for that one. It was neat. Yeah.
Wow. Steven, you're on the air with Mike Ness on Modern Rock Live.
Hey, if you could tour with any band, who would it be?
Well, my dream is to just play rhythm guitar for a tour with the Ramones, and I don't have to sing, I don't have to do nothing except play rhythm guitar, and they're still like my favorite band, so that would be my dream. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Thanks, Steven. Clay, you're on the air.
Hey, Mike, what's up?
How you doing?
Pretty cool, man. I was wanting to ask you, what is the favorite tattoo that you have?
My favorite tattoo?
He's looking around now. Would you like a mirror to look at the back too?
I never get to see the back. Probably the barbershop pole.
Does that answer your question, Clay?
That got it, man.
Thanks a lot. What's coming up next now that you got this out of your system? You working on something else?
Yeah. Well, we're going to do my solo record first before we do the next Social Distortion record, and I'm real excited about that. I mean, I wanted to do that for the last 5 years, and we just haven't had the time, and now's the time, and I think it'll be... I'm really looking forward to it.
What's going to be different about it versus Social D?
Probably a little bit more stripped down, a little bit, I want to say rootsier, but, it's going to be contemporary, too. It's almost like if Woody Guthrie had a Les Paul in his hands or something. Yeah. Because I really want to do it rootsy, I personally don't get much enjoyment out of contemporary music, because I just don't. And I go back to 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and I just, for some reason, get more out of that, and...
Sort of like that Johnny Cash album that came out a couple of years ago on American Recordings, the very stripped down, everything away.
It's going to be very dark. It's going to be very dark and very, maybe a little more personal. I don't know. We'll know when it's done.
Now, a lot of people outside of LA are probably not aware that you're doing Hootenanny 98 next weekend, which is you.
God loves me a Hootenanny.
Just you and X and the Reverend Horton Heat, and the Super Suckers, and who else is on this? This is like the
Cramps,
best.
It's the best bill around.
It's the best kept secret. I mean, people know about it. It's going to be totally packed out in the middle of the hills out there east of LA. But there were rumors that Hootenanny was going to hit the road and maybe go national. Is this true? Or
I heard something about it. Yeah. It might take the act on the road.
You'll wake up one day, Mike. We need you on the road. Hootenanny's going national.
We've been known to travel.
I know, indeed. All right, well, thanks for coming in. Our time is up.
Okay.
We have to make room for the Rancid guys. But, by the way, you can stay if you want.
Oh, we'll stay for a little while. I want to say hello to those guys.
Okay.
But
thanks for coming out. The album is live at the Roxy. It's Social Distortion, recorded live over 3 nights this past April. If you're going to the stores to look for it, it comes out this Tuesday, the 30th, and it's on Time Bomb Recordings. And I have to say, nice job.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for coming. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll be joined by Rancid, but just to give you a little taste of the album in case you've been living under a rock, here's the first emphasis cut. It's called Blood Clot on